Call.
Jizzle. Here. Neal.
Here.
Olson.
Here.
Luce.
Here.
Zittergruen.
Here.
Hadley.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Is there anyone who wishes to speak to something that's not on the agenda? Seeing none. Consent agenda?
Item A, minutes of the August 21, 2023 meeting. B, claims. C, new construction tax abatement for 1008 Ridge Road, Lucas Mollers. D, special event application for Culture Fest, Luther College. E, resolution resetting public hearing for the Decorah 2023 Miller Park Trail Improvement Project. F, Class C retail alcohol amendment license with outdoor service, Impact Coffee. G, new Class B retail alcohol license, Oneota Community Cooperative. H, confirm appointment of Bill Courtney to the Board of Adjustment.
Just to note that Bill Courtney had also applied for Civil Service Commission. So I just went back and asked if that he would be interested, and he put in his applications.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Luce was second.
Motion made by Olson, seconded by Luce. Any further discussion?
Just wanted to say that Bill Courtney's application seemed like it was really appropriate for this, so it's nice when timing works out.
Yep.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
Okay, roll call.
Olson.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Jizzle.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Zittergruen.
Aye.
Hadley.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Conduct public hearing on the plans, specifications, form of contract, and taking bids for the Decorah EOC 911 dispatch shelter generator project. Want to give some background on that, please?
Sure, I'll give the background, combine items 5 and 6, with 6 being the action of council. So public hearing typically wouldn't be required for a project of this size. However, since federal funding is being included, FEMA is requiring a public hearing. So that's why we're doing this. The project, the engineer's estimate for the project was $90,934.31, which happens to be the amount of grant funding awarded from FEMA. And the city received one bid for the project at $90,002 from Perry Novak Electric. This generator will go on, provide immediate backup power to the library to serve as emergency operations center, 911 dispatch center, emergency shelter in that time of need. With that, no written objections or comments have been received at this time.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to this item? Seeing or hearing none, I'll close the public meeting. And we'll go on to consider a resolution approving the plans and specifications, form of contract, and awarding the Decorah EOC 911 dispatch shelter generator project.
Move for approval of contract with Perry Novak Electric for $90,002.
Second.
Motion made by Chisel, seconded by Olson. Any further discussion?
Life cycle on these things is 20-25 years. Is that, reasonable?
Accurate.
So, all right, but I'm just gonna say my regular thing that I always say, which is that we should start planning to put aside 3,000 or 4,000 a year, because that's what we're spending every year to replace this at the end. And FEMA probably won't want to replace it as much as they want to install it for the first time.
And I'll just say thank you to staff for their work on getting the generator grant,
Definitely.
because as we all remember, that the cell phone towers went down when we lost power for 19 hours last summer. So having an emergency dispatch center that's safe from floodwaters up on the hill, and also have fiber and a generator is a great asset. So thanks to staff for working on getting the FEMA grant.
Well, and Sean,
Yay, team.
I know Sean Snyder. Right. So between Sean and Jeremy and Chopper,
And hopefully it never has to work.
there you go.
No, it has to work, just
Yeah.
never need it.
Need it, yeah, right.
Okay, any further discussion? Roll call?
Jizzle.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Luce.
Aye.
Zittergruen.
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Motion carried. Conduct a public hearing on easement agreement with Jacqueline Yurok at 307 Oak Street. Gonna give some background on that, please.
Sure. So again, I'll combine the background on 7 and 8 together. I'll abbreviate a bit because I did receive an email late last night that kind of changed some things, but so background on this, the city was approached by the property owner at 307 Oak Street. The existing home on the property extends into the city right of way. And if you look on Beacon, you can see the neighboring property also has the same issue where it extends in the existing right of way. And so this did go through planning and zoning, public hearing held. The property owner showed up at that time and said that they were going to look into it a bit. Hadn't heard from them a bit, reached out to them last week, said, all right, we're going to put this in front of council for consideration. Have received feedback that they don't intend on actually signing and entering into the agreement just yet because they want to have further review of this from their own legal counsel. This was first presented to them in February, March, maybe.
And there was a
March was when it was reviewed by P and Z, but I believe it was sent to them in February. And at the time, it was okay to advance from this property owner, but the neighbor had no intentions of entering into an easement agreement. And with that being said, I will point out that we don't have to grant an easement for the home to be in the property. I don't mean for this to sound as strong-handed as it's going to sound, but if we have to do something within the right of way and their house is in the way, by all means, we could go ahead and do what we need to do. This easement agreement would actually be a protection for the homeowner and allow them free and clear title to the home that sits in city right away.
How about if we do a public, did I just do that?
We
And
still
did-
need to do the public hearing,
Okay.
or we don't need to, but we should.
Yeah. How about I'll open the public hearing. If there's anyone who wishes to speak to this item,
One at a time, one.
I'll close the public hearing. Now let's go on with the discussion.
You're talking the neighbor 508 Terrace, is that the one you're talking about?
Correct. So
Street, okay.
they originally did not have
They won't.
anything to do with it, but now 307 last night told me that they don't want to advance either. So at this point, I would just table the action after holding the hearing. Just table it until they can finish their legal review, and then council can go ahead and consider
And
afterwards.
did you talk to both of those owners?
Separate times, yes.
Okay,
Do we have utility under there? What do we have under their houses?
Right now, there's no utilities or anything under there. I was
Okay.
just pointing out, again, I didn't want it to sound as heavy-handed as it would, but
Right.
just from a purely legal standpoint, if we needed to access that right away, we have access to that right away.
What exercise brought this forth?
The homeowner's request.
Okay, so
They were gonna do something, I think.
Here, sorry to butt in, but this goes back pre-pandemic maybe? I mean, there's been discussions with this property.
Okay.
You don't remember how it was discovered, but there was a survey done a number of years ago where this was identified.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this just changed hands, didn't it? Last year too.
when it,
And so,
they had done quite a bit of cement work. I wonder if it was when they did.
It was
change
before that.
Okay,
Hadley will make a motion to table.
second,
motion made by Hadley, seconded by Neil to table. Any further discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Hadley,
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergrun,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Chisel.
Consider an ordinance, chapter 2.02 of the municipal code of the city of Decorah regarding mayor council compensation. This is the third and final reading.
Lucid move the third reading.
Second.
Moved by Luce, second by Zittergrun. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Luce,
Aye.
Zittergrun.
Aye.
Hadley,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Chisel.
No.
Neal,
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay. City manager, department head and council reports.
Okay, I got a couple things here, Mayor. One, I do want to point out, Decorah Municipal Airport is hosting the International Cessna 120 Association Convention. Let's see, next week, starting 9/12 and runs through the 16th. So I've been told that there could be up to, what was it? Upwards of 50 or more airplanes, Cessnas, that'll actually be up at the airport and in Decorah for the week for that. Also, received notice from FEMA that the new floodplain maps, the 2019 preliminary flood maps are now ready to be adopted, and that we need to have those adopted by ordinance prior to February 22nd, 2024 to continue to participate in the NFIP program.
And they are sure that we should do that.
I can't
Has been
speak
a
to
long-
that, but I
that's been
got
a
a
long
letter saying
time
we need
coming.
to do it.
Okay,
And are the maps, they didn't change them, did they?
Not from the 2019 preliminary, but there was some publication issues and errors that they had on their part that they had to start the process over again. So anyway, did receive that notice from FEMA. Those are ready to go. So we'll have those in future councils for, again, adoption by ordinance. And last item, did want to point out, so the deadline for nominations, submitting paperwork for either council or Parks and Rec, those are due by the 21st up at the courthouse, not at City Hall. We do not accept those here. For at-large positions, you need 49 signatures. For ward positions, you need 14, and Park and Rec positions need 44. Want to put it out there if anyone has any questions about, City of Decorah organization, how city council, mayor council works, what that relationship looks like. More than happy to speak to anyone that has any questions about running.
I did want to know too that, that I saw this publication that's in your office.
Correct. Yep.
It's put out by the League of Cities on city candidate guidelines. Something on
Yep,
that
we've got a
order.
couple of those in there. They can be viewed at the Iowa League of Cities website as well. That's all I have.
Okay. Anybody over that way? Do you want to use the microphone, please? Or you can come up here too if it. We might need it
Come on,
for,
like for the Zoom people.
I do just want to let you know that you will be seeing our officers out and about in the community more regularly with special traffic enforcement over at the schools. And we're putting them on the radio and in the newspaper once a month. Denise is being very helpful with that process to kind of ingrain them more within the community, but also to have them more invested in Decorah for retention purposes. I have to tell you that I did accept a letter of retirement or intent to retire from Officer Chris McClellan this morning. Painful to receive that because we really appreciate his service. His second retirement in law enforcement, obviously, he wants to pursue other endeavors. However, that will leave us with another spot to fill very quickly. So with that in mind, we really just want to make officers recognize Decorah as their home and be happy here and within our department. They're going to be our best sellers and recruiters for our agency. So keep that in mind. And if you do see Officer McClellan, high five him and tell him thanks for his service. So
I had talked to him a couple times prior to hearing this, but he was very pleased with the way things were going. That was not the case, was actually something that came up business wise, I believe, for him.
yeah, I believe a great fishing opportunity in Florida seems to have caught his attention. So
I did a ride along with him and he still had ties with that, doing the fishing thing. I know we went back and forth into that, so I'm pursuing that, so.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Okay, Randy,
Nothing this evening, man.
Emily,
A couple things. One is that I know that next week, or not next week, 2 weeks on September 19th, we'll be hosting a utility meeting to talk about both the upcoming Alliant rate increase and also just kind of revisit thoughts on MEU discussion. So I would just encourage council or any public person out there who is interested in coming to that meeting to, I think the videos are still available from our MEU educational series that we did and all of the people that were brought in over the last year, just to refresh conversations for the MEU moving forward.
And to clarify, that was going to be a discussion
Right.
at the end of the council meeting, correct? As a council as a whole.
You're right. Discussion.
Thank
at the end of
you.
the council, but we are talking about it. So council, do your homework on that one. And then I wanted to also say that on October 2nd, can I announce this one? Public safety?
I would hold off on
Okay,
that
never mind.
because. So ICMA, I'll be out of, you're
So you wanna
okay to
wait?
hold it. If you want to hold it October 2nd, go ahead. I won't be there.
Okay, well, we can talk about it. I won't say
Okay.
anything about it. We're talking next week and we'll go with that. Okay. Then I also just wanted to, sometimes we have a lot of people that tell us things and we don't ever share it to each other. So I am unfortunately going to miss the Quick Star ribbon cutting next week. And I have been myself impressed with all the work that's been done over there. But I also have had so many people, most of the time as a council member, you just hear negative things. And I have had so many people come over and say, one, they're really impressed with the amount of green space that looks like it's going on over there. Two, they love the changes on College Drive and the narrowing of it, which I thought we were just going to get all these headaches, and I'm sure they'll come too. But right now, I've just heard a lot of positive feedback about Quick Start. I'm sad I'm going to miss the ribbon cutting, so thanks for that. And those are my announcements.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Kirsten.
I just had one thing, and it speaks to the quality of our staff here with the city. And it's a small thing, but I think it can have a big impact. And that's if you take Pleasant Avenue from the fish hatchery out there as you come into town. There, where we reduce the speed limit to 25 miles per hour there, they have a radar enforced sign that monitors your speed, which a lot of people, I'm sure, get frustrated with when they see that and try to blow it off. But the quality of our staff decided to put a warning sign underneath there, which reads, "Please slow down or we will put the potholes back." And I love the fact that they took a sense of humor to that idea. And I'm hoping that people will take that sense of humor and realize that it's a small thing to ask for people to slow down and go the speed limit there. And we've got a lot of changes going around town with the road diet we're doing on College Drive. We've narrowed the intersection at Winnebago and Broadway, places like that. And people will take a minute to think about that sign that was put up and get a little chuckle or a smile and realize it's a small thing to ask to go the speed limit, to slow down for kids and Luther getting back in session and to get through these major areas that we have problems with. So thank you, staff, for thinking of that.
That was the other thing. I was
I had somebody that liked that sign also. Gave you a card called Welcome Community Connectors. There's some business people. Actually, we has been instrumental in setting this up. And they had their first meeting at Impact Coffee. And we had a really good turnout, a lot of discussion for some of the younger business people in town that they could connect with each other. Nick came and people really commented that it was really great to be able to talk to him as well. So they will be, if you want to get on the email for that, that's what these are for. I also got a thank you from the Nordic Fest board for all the work that everybody did to make Nordic Fest positive. Steve Luce.
I have a SIM meeting, SMID meeting in the morning at 7:30. I was going to tell Carrie and remind Carrie about the figures, but I guess Travis, you will have those.
Yep.
So they know their numbers of what revenues they have to work with. The flowers, hanging baskets look really good this year. The warmth has nothing to do with anything except summer, and that's getting over. So I want to wish everyone a happy autumn.
Thank you. Steve Zittigran.
I hope everyone had a good Labor Day weekend and it's a good opportunity for us to do what we should do all the time, which is express appreciation and deep support for our city staff who do a lot of things that make our city function in ways that people maybe don't think about as often as they could or should. It's cool when my toilet flush and my faucet runs, and I'm slightly aware of everything that's involved in that happening. And I'm just super grateful for the, literally dozens and dozens of people who do a lot of work behind the scenes to make this community work better. So a happy Labor Day weekend to everyone. I hope it was one. I know that's a little late. It's easy to notice negatives about changes and not, have your eyes open to positives. So I was glad for Emily's comments on the road diet. On the drive down to the meeting the first time tonight, it took almost a minute longer than it usually would because there happened to be a long line of cars going south on College Drive. I hold that in one hand, but I hold in the other hand that, I wasn't nearly as scared for my son to bike to school alone this morning because I knew he was farther separated from traffic, going 40 miles an hour. It's now going slower on average, that his crossings are shorter. And so I think we need to hold both of those things in mind when we're hearing some of the concerns or pushback. We have to also look for, hey, how is this new thing better also? So thanks to all of you for being willing to take some heat for it, and to our staff for implementing it. And, I don't think we should just ask people to slow down and go the speed limit. I think we should make them. As much as I appreciate that humorous sign, I also think that speeding can kill people, and we shouldn't only joke about it. We should take it seriously.
Thanks. Ross?
Well, I had an interesting week because in addition to having a street committee meeting to talk about improving streets, and we've been busy, right? Clearly the staff has been busy. There's been lots of good work and whatnot. But I had a meeting this week about removing one, which is interesting. So I started the discussions with people about removing the pavement on Ice Cave Road, and how Ice Cave could become more natural, and removing the pavement of a condemned road and turning it back into something else. It would be our final action of our last act of maintenance. So Mr. Zudegren's comments often are about the life expectancy of infrastructure and depreciation and whatnot. But this is turning something that was an asset into a new type of asset, and changing that. And so obviously nothing happening out of that, but getting a budget to remove a street, which is kind of interesting, and turning it into something different. So that was good. And we did have a street committee meeting prior to the council meeting, where we're discussing the 2025 road plan, so that we can do a better job of engineering over the winter and using our in-house engineer and whatnot, and staff, which I think is great because our employees are an asset and we have the skill set now. And so using our staff for construction or for engineering for their professional skills, we're a very lucky community.
I love it.
Nothing, Mayor.
I did want to note also to Jeremy and the street department, the bump outs at the corner of Broadway and Winnebago. It's so great when sometimes I'm usually coming through that in the morning, but there's enough room that people can see things. It's great for the kids because there's plenty of space there. People can see the kids, but I was really pleased to see that. I wanted to make sure I mentioned it at a city council meeting.
Can I ask Jeremy a question about that? Once, did you say something like that was just a required design element that close to a school, or am I just wishing that were true?
So for everyone in Zoom, the short answer to that is ADA requirements made us have to install those bump outs. But to make that transition, the shorter crossing, we did extend them a little further.
Well, and I'd actually had somebody comment too that the other age spectrum, dropping people off at the church is just much easier. You don't have to worry about the curb, or they can get in there real easy. So, okay. Anything else to come before council? Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Okay. Thank you very much.